They said I joke too much, that I don't fit the mold. But last time I checked, I'm the one still bold.
Welcome to the Heart and Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Omar Hargrove, and today we're going to talk about something that's often misunderstood, and that is how we often see the results but not the reps. And we're going to hone in on how leadership can really play a part of this, but I think it's also a universal principle that we can unpack together. And it's this idea that the success, whether it's something you're trying to do, marriage, relationships, and especially leadership, it is not glamorous, and we are often looking for the results, but we neglect the reps. We love seeing the outcome, the platforms, the teams, the growth, but what most people don't see is the weight that comes with leading these things. And if any of you guys that follow me, a while back I made, I think it was actually just yesterday, so depending on when you listen to this, I made a reel that showed clips going from me working out to me doing puppets and characters for our homeschool group. And for some people, it may feel like these are two totally unrelated things. Like it doesn't blend well. What does lifting weights have to do with teaching kids with puppets? And what I was trying to convey is that what I was really showing was this leadership, how leadership and the things that we do starts long before anyone sees it. And it takes mental, physical, emotional, and even spiritual discipline to be able to hold everything together. I mean, depending on your view of working with children, like being able to be a solid person to work with kids, you have to have resolve in the background. Like you have to have mental clarity, emotional clarity. And sometimes it's easy to look at things of that nature, like adjacent to that, and think, oh, it just comes natural to that person. It just comes natural to them. And what I was trying to convey is that it's not natural, it's intentional. And so that's what we're going to be unpacking today. So let's start with part one, the highlight reel versus the actual reel. And I think that we often romanticize the idea of success, especially within leadership. You know, we see the titles, we see the influence, we see recognition, we see the likes, we see the cute little clips, we see the new car, we see this and that. But what we don't see with all of this is the early mornings, the hard choices, the constant pressure to stay grounded. And we often celebrate the outcome, but rarely honor the process. Or maybe we might give it a gentle nod to the process, but we don't really look at it as a source for what's actually happening. And if you've ever led anything, whether it's a family, a team, a business, the truth is the strength that you show in public comes from the discipline that you build in private. And when I'm working out in my gym, I'm not just training my body. I'm trying to train my mindset. When I'm doing these puppets for leading lessons with kids, I'm not just performing, but I'm mentally practicing consistency. I'm practicing patience. I'm practicing joy, and even things like I do a cold plunge specific. It's hard with my setup. It's hard to do a cold plunge every day because it's not able to get cold enough. But I specifically plan my cold plunges on the days that I'm going to speak, whether it's at a recovery center, church, anything. I plan specifically to do those. And even though I do it on a regular basis, like I do it most times throughout the week, that these are specific days because in that moment, I'm trying to prepare my mindset. It's not as much about, it's not like this idea that I like getting in this freezing cold water. It is more so me building resolve in my mindset to do something that doesn't make sense to my body, to hold myself together in the midst of uncomfortable pressure. That is what I'm trying to cultivate in the background of doing something that is purely physical, but has this overlapping realm of mental. And everything that I'm trying to say is that when it comes to building the type of person you want to be, or a person that you admire, these people don't just happen. They're cultivated. And leadership isn't about showing up once and being impressive. It's about showing up every day and being intentional. And it goes really deep to like a marriage. It's really hard to pretend a marriage, right? Like it's really hard to pretend one day a week for people to seem like, oh, what a pretty couple. But it's something that really tests your practice. It's hard to just perform like that. And I think that a lot of times we may even try to pretend for our kids. We have this performance for our kids while they're there. And then as they get older, it's almost like their universe shatters when they realize, like, oh my gosh, you guys were just pretending you're in love, and it's hard to articulate. Like, well, no, I mean, we want to be able to build an authentic resolve that's consistent, whether it's our relationships, our parenting, our roles in our careers. Like we need to build a consistency in this background, a resolve in this background. And that's why we're going to talk about the private preparation. Before we can handle what's public, we have to master what's private. And that part is, it's unique because nobody applauds it. I mean, it's funny because most influencers will like do reels of like what they do in private. Like, I mean, that's what I did, right? I'm putting this reel of working out, but it's what I'm trying to suggest is that we might even see clips of other people doing something hard that is normally private, and we applaud that, like, oh, cool. But we don't have that same kind of applause when it comes to acting out that discipline behind our own doors. The quiet work when no one is watching us, and it is this moment where we have to look at the unseen parts, and rather than feeling the need to immediately post something that you're doing privately on social media, of having this moment where you accept that this is yours, that this is private, that no one else needs to see this, and that this is a moment where you are trying to build something within yourself. You know, for me, I think about these seasons where I had years where no one saw behind the scenes. No one saw like this behind the curtain grind, from workout disciplines to diet, to journaling, to prayer time, to these mental resets, to creative planning, that no one will know about. Even just like these mental battles you go through, like it's these moments where no one knew about these things over years of what it took for me to just lead a small little piddly church. And it took so much weight of training my soul. It was so much weight of training my soul just to be able to manage that and with consistency. And what you handle with little will be able to sustain what grows. And every leader has to decide, will I be the kind of person who performs well only when people are watching, or the kind of person who prepares when no one is watching? And the second is harder because it's lonely. No one is clapping for you when you're trying to get your life in order. No one's posting about your quiet morning reflections or your decisions to go to therapy, or your struggle to forgive someone or even yourself from past mistakes. These are these moments where I want to stress that they're probably moments that should be private for a while. We can use these private moments to inspire people as we feel like we have a resolve, as we feel like a grasp. But if you are like just now starting therapy and you're going to try to use your initial steps, like your baby steps, to try to make a post about or try to go public about, I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. You want to be able to build this first before exposing your private life to the public. It can be emotionally dangerous to do that, because if it could just really backfire. And so with all that I'm saying, I want to make it clear that you can use these private times to inspire later, but allow it to be a private preparation for you for a while. That goes into our part 3. Mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual preparation. I want us to just really break down these 4 assets of ourself, or these lanes of our personhood. This mental idea is this idea that it requires focus. We need to be present in the pain. You have to learn how to manage your thoughts and not let your thoughts manage you. And that means learning how to quiet the noise, how to think clearly, how to make decisions under pressure, and even just simple things like knowing like your first hour of the day. A lot of people often wake up to like chaos, like, oh no, my alarm's going off, I overslept, I need to go right now, I'm gonna be late, oh, the kids are already up. And we have like, it's this moment where our mental state starts the day with chaos, and we have this passive stress just hanging on by a thread. But even the simplest thing is waking up a little bit earlier, so that you can have this moment of ramp for your mind to set in. Even allowing yourself like goals where like, I'm not going to look at my phone for the first 30 minutes of the day, or the first hour of the day. Like allowing your mind to truly start on a ramp rather than just going right into feeding it junk food. Let's now talk about physical. You can't separate your body from your calling. And if you're constantly exhausted, running on fumes, it affects your ability to lead. It affects your ability to be a spouse, to be a parent, to be anything. It's why I work out. It's not to look good, even though like that's this adjacent part of self-image is caring about how you appear to others, but to stay strong enough to keep going. Like it's not the idea of like, oh, I have to be strong enough to climb a mountain. It's this idea that my body has to be stable enough to do the things that I'm doing. If I am hung over, like I think sometimes like, man, if I did still do drugs or drink or anything, like I'm hanging on to all my responsibilities with a completely sober mind. I can't even imagine handling a Saturday hungover. I can't imagine it. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm not trying to suggest that like everyone needs to choose sobriety like me. What I'm trying to project is this idea that my physical state is a necessity to being able to hold the responsibilities that I have currently and the responsibilities that I want to carry in the future. I have to take care of myself. And that includes sleep, that includes my diet, that includes my physical well-being. Now let's talk about emotional. This one is huge because emotional maturity might be one of the rarest leadership traits today. It means learning how to respond rather than to react. It means carrying people's problems without letting them crush you. It means forgiving quickly and not letting bitterness take root. I mean, there's great books and resources out there, like The Emotionally Healthy Leader is a great book. But this idea that if you have some like unresolved trauma in your life, unresolved emotional duress, it is going to affect everything else you do eventually. If it's not already doing it now, it's going to affect you. And you have to get your emotions not under control, but healed. You have to be able to have emotional maturity. And a big thing for me that I shared before is that like the decision to go to therapy after already having years of ministry and counseling others was a tough decision for me. But after even just a year of doing it, it completely changed my life. It changed me as a leader, as a father, as a husband. Every aspect of my life was exponentially more grounded because of my emotional resolve that I was able to build through therapy. So to where even though I don't feel like I have these like big unresolved issues per se anymore, I still ongoingly go to therapy because because emotional health is important to the responsibilities that we carry. And finally, is our spiritual health. You need something deeper than ambition to keep you centered. You could call it faith, purpose, conviction, whatever it is. You have to be anchored in something bigger than an applause, because there's going to be plenty of times where you may do the right thing and still be rejected by others. But having this grounding spiritually to where you're connected to God, something bigger than yourself, it is able to cause all four of these areas to be connected. And it causes this unique shift to where you're grounded in purpose along with what you're doing. And that goes for all the roles, not just the idea of leadership or success, but even just my purpose as a dad, my purpose as a husband, these personal things. So all four of these areas being connected, you can't lead strong if any of them are neglected. And it's not to make us feel overwhelmed, like, oh, if I'm missing here, then it all is going to crumble. Is for us this idea to where we are we're stretching ourselves to be grounded in all four of these levels. It's not going to happen overnight, but we are walking towards this goal so that we can handle what we want to do. Now, this leads us to part 4, which is the cost of resolve. What people often don't realize is when it comes to success in any sphere, whether it's relational success, career success, leadership, etc., resolve means sticking with it when it stops being convenient. It's this decision to stay calm when chaos breaks out. I mean, like a marriage is an example. To be able to be calm in your marriage, in your relationship, even in the midst of an intense argument, to be able to show up for your kids when you're tired, to stay kind at work when you're really frustrated. All of these areas, it takes resolve, and that resolve is not glamorous. It does not feel pretty in the moment of actually needing it, but it is extremely powerful. I think about these moments in my own journey where I wanted to tap out, where I felt like I was doing everything right, but seeing no progress. And it's in those moments where that resolve is what shaped me. This consistency, despite what I'm seeing, is what is compelling me forward. This resolve. And those moments build something inside of us that can handle the seasons that we're praying for. Because if you don't build that discipline in the season of drought, you'll fall apart when there's a downpour. And everyone often wants that success, but rarely are people willing to endure in those moments that are leading to success. Now, finally, we're gonna end with this part 5, and this is the behind the scenes work that builds strength. I want us to go back to that reel I was talking about for a second, the one that is the workouts and the puppets. And to most people, it seems random, but it represents two sides of the same coin. One is building strength. The other is building softness. One is building resolve, while the other is building joy. And as leaders, as people who are responsible for something, we need both. We need the kind of discipline that makes us steady and the kind of playfulness that can keep us human. And that's what people often don't recognize. They see messages or the production, the service, the moment, but not the hours of unseen effort, the self-doubt, the perseverance that it takes to get there. And if you're listening right now and you feel like the behind the scenes effort isn't mattering enough for you, you need to understand that it does. And if you stay consistent in the long run, you'll look back and reflect on how meaningful it was to hold on to those behind the scene moments, those private moments. And that's the part that is making you into the kind of person who can handle what you're asking for. So the challenge for today is to take success, leadership, whatever it is that you aspire to, take it off the pedestal and put it back into perspective. You don't have to be perfect to have that success, whatever realm it is for you. You just have to be prepared. And every rep, every discipline, every unseen choice is shaping your capacity to hold that. If you stay consistent, you'll look back one day and realize that the quiet work was the big work. The best leaders of success like that aren't the ones who look the part per se. They're the ones who live the part. So keep showing up for yourself, keep building behind the scenes, and know that your preparation isn't wasted. It's building the foundation for what's next. So thank you for tuning into the Heart and Hustle today. I hope that this message encouraged you and made a difference in your life. Until next time, have a great life.
Then tell me why you still watch every move I take. You call me phony, nah, I'm just free. And if you still doubt me, go by my book.